summer fun time activity. Today promises to be both informative and entertaining, which you probably already know if you've heard Keith speak before. If you have any questions during today's webinar, just type them in on the screen and we'll address them as we can. And then at the end of the presentation, we'll open the phone lines for spoken questions. And now for today's presentation, our speaker is Keith Maurer. He co-founded Tampa-based Fee-for-Service in 1984. It was a national firm specializing in marketing low-load life insurance. When GE Capital purchased Fee-for-Service in 95, Keith remained president until his resignation in 98. Since leaving GE Capital, he served as a product distribution strategy consultant to several well-known insurance companies. He's also an in-house consultant for low-load insurance services. In addition to his popularity as a speaker, Keith is a contributor to the financial press, including Life Insurance Selling, Consumer Reports, Forbes, Money, The Wall Street Journal, The New York Times, Business Week, and Financial Planning magazine. And he contributes to the morale here at Low Load Insurance Services with his contagious laughter and his sometimes good jokes. I'm sure you'll get a taste of that this afternoon. And with that, I'll let Keith take it away.
Good afternoon. I know a couple of you said it's a little hard of hearing, so I'm going to speak a little louder. I hope that helps. And if some of you are blasting out, you'll just have to turn your volume down a little bit. So let's get started. We have a little fun here. Summer started in good old Florida, which means it's already turning to the mid-90s. We've already had a couple storms. The hurricanes are coming quickly, but what do I do for fun during the summer? Well, sometimes you can go out into the water and just make a big splash. Because we have a lot of water, sometimes you can go out sailing. That one thing up there, that's actually a picture of dodgeball, which I really don't play anymore. I didn't play it that way even back then, but it will make sense later on. And maybe some people like to go bird watching. Obviously, with the 4th of July, we get to see some fireworks sometimes. Maybe go fishing. Maybe deep sea diving. But what I really like to do, what I do during the summer, all that, and doing policy reviews. I'm sure that's exactly what you thought you were going to anticipate that I love to do during the summer, but maybe we'll have a little fun with it today. So because I do a lot of policy reviews, and I've talked to many of you over the past year or two as to, you start out by saying, I don't know if this is really worth you looking at or not. I thought maybe it would be a good idea if I would say, well, what is it that I look for? And then if you know what I'm looking for, then maybe you can look sort of for the same thing. You won't necessarily get the same ahas out of it, but if you know what I'm looking for, you'll know maybe better if it's worth sending in or not. And second of all, what is it that I need? Because that's for any of you who are new or newer, that's usually the first question. Well, if you do a policy review, what is it you need? So let's talk about that for a second. First of all, I'm going to talk about term insurance. I'm going to break this down by type of product, although generically some of the same things work for all of them. The term is sort of the easier product to understand. You die, they pay type policy. And this is actually a picture of dodgeball. Why dodgeball? Well, term insurance probably has the toughest underwriting of all the products we have. Some of the other products will sort of slide on some of the stuff, let you have a little bit higher blood pressure, maybe a little bit more lax on height and weight or whatever. Term insurance is pretty tough. And the reason I chose dodgeball as sort of a game to play with term insurance and policy reviews is because you can dodge one or two or three, but then sometimes you just don't see something coming. And so you got to know where all the dodgeballs are coming from in order for you to sort of get through the maze of insurance. So what do I need from you? Well, if it's term insurance, what I really need from you is how much does the person need? That should be sort of simple, but a lot of times when the policy was sold, The need may have been for, let's make it simple, let's say it was sort of like, say, for a mortgage. But since then, they've refinanced the house, and so the mortgage changed. Or maybe it was for income replacement. The person has changed jobs, got a raise, whatever. So how much they need is something that I need to know. And how long do they need it? As we know, term insurance has an end period. It's not a product that you keep forever, or you can keep forever. You must either convert it or drop it. And so I need from you is how long do they need this coverage? What do I need from the client? I need to know their current health information. And probably every time I've talked, I've said this, but I'm going to say it again, is people need to be brutally honest. It doesn't help to wish that you were 6 foot and 185. You're never going to see 185 again. You know, tell me what it is. This isn't a judgment call. If you're taking medication, they're going to find out. You can't hide it. So if you don't tell me, then I can't do a good policy review. So stress upon your client that we do have confidentiality and that kind of stuff, but I need to know their current real health situation. And as far as the policy is concerned, what I really like is the first, what's called the face page, which is the page that types their name and their face amount and the date of issue or whatever. And sometimes there's a second page as well that has the riders and convertibility. So if it's just boilerplate, I don't need it, but anything that's unique to that policy. So that's sort of the two things that I need from on the term itself. So what do I look for? Well, obviously, since I've already stressed this a little bit, how much time is left on the guaranteed level premium part? There's a couple of trick questions on that one. One of them is the word guaranteed. There are quite a few policies out there that have a premium projected to stay level for 10 years or 20 years, usually 20 years, but it's only guaranteed to stay level for the first 10. So far, to my knowledge, those companies have gone ahead and kept the premium level for that second 10 period, but not necessarily guaranteed. The other one I look for is, if you bought a 20-year term 17 years ago, you basically only have 3 years left. So I just simply subtract how long the policy has a guaranteed level premium and then how long ago you bought it. So that's not very difficult, but does that match then what you say, how long they need this coverage? ART, that's not art as we think of it as pictures, but annual renewable term. There's two aspects of this one. There is one major insurance company that sells a lot of this product. Annual renewable term is term insurance that starts out at a very low rate. And then a second year increases some, third year increases a little bit more, and starting about the fourth year it really starts increasing. And so that it increases annually. And you could buy it that way, which some people do, or it could be your guaranteed level premium has out of the level period and is into an ART status. But either situation, I would say 90% of the time, if the client's health is an even just okay situation, once they're in an ART situation, you can substantially improve their position. ART is really and only a good product if it's sold originally for the first 2 or 3 years. After that, it gets extremely expensive, and if it gets there from a guaranteed level premium that trips into the ART, it is always very expensive. So I'd look to see if it's in the annual renewable term. The face amount, one of the things I look for is an odd number. There's always a strange reason why there's an odd number of death benefit, $123,416 of death benefit. It's just odd. I always question those. But I also look for policies that are just below what we call break points. Most companies have a policy band or the price per thousand that goes below 100. So anything less than $100,000 of death benefit almost always is very expensive per thousand insurance. The next price break is $250,000. then there's many companies break at 500,000, all of them give you a break at $1 million. So sometimes I'll get two policies, for example. One of them will maybe be a $150,000 policy, and one of them will be a $100,000 policy. Almost always a $250,000 policy will be less than the two smaller policies. So face amounts, is there close to a break point? And there are more than one that could total up into a higher amount. The conversion date. This is one that is, to me, very, very important. A conversion simply means that says that you can convert or change, whatever, convert the term policy into some form of permanent policy that they offer without, and this is very important, without asking any evidence of insurability, meaning has their health changed? They can't ask that question. So I would say probably 99% of the policies out there are sold that says, if you ask, does this have a conversion option, they always say yes. But the question really should be, is the conversion option the same length of time as the guaranteed level premium? In other words, if you buy a 20-year term policy, is the conversion right there for the full 20 years? Probably about, I'm going to ballpark this, 30 to 40% of the term policies out there, that is not true. It's sort of like the guaranteed level. Many companies out there have 20 and 30-year term that are conversion less than that. Many 20-year terms are only convertible for the first 10. Many 30-year terms are only convertible for the first 15 or 20. It's a way to for the insurance company to maybe knock off a nickel or a dime or a penny, but it's a foolish penny to save, because if you've ever had a client whose health has changed during a term policy and you have to go back and say, I'm sorry, you've passed the conversion period, you get this cheap term for 2 or 3 more years, and then it's going to get that ART rate, and there's nothing we can do about it because your health has changed. It's there's something that you don't want to happen. Any quotes that come out of LLIS are convertible for the full term period unless we tell you differently, and or some of them do stop at age 70, some stop at 65, most of them stop at 70 or 75. So if you buy a 30-year term on a 50-year-old, it would not be convertible necessarily for the full 30 years. It may stop at age 70 or 75. But for younger people who buy term insurance, and a 35-year-old buys a 30-year term, we would recommend it would be convertible for the full 30 years. So we watch out for that. You should too, but if you get the quotes from us, you know that. So, but on in-force policies, I look for that a lot. If the client is 45 or older, I'll usually ask if they have group insurance, or you sometimes say they have group insurance, so there's no really reason to look at it. That would be true if the employer pays for it. If it's supplemental group, then if they're 45 or older, and why do I pick 45? It's because group insurance rates increase every what's called quintennial age. If your age ends in 5 or 0, your rates just went up on your group insurance. Almost always at age 45, you can buy 20-year guaranteed level cheaper than you can buy group insurance for 1 year rates. So that's why I do that. And then I look for the classification, especially if it's not preferred plus. If it's preferred plus, that means that they got the best rate, and they hopefully will get the best rate with everybody, and there's really no play there. If, however, they get something less than that, I want to know why. And that may be the dodgeball thing. And I'll talk about that in just a little bit, but I want to introduce to you our newest employee and sort of our new hidden treasure here. This is Peachy Thompson. Peachy just joined us last month, and her title is Underwriting Coordinator. For those of you who don't speak insurance